Get up!
Oh snap. Sup dudes. I haven't switched over to the actual live scene, but this is like the preamble into, so no one can see us yet, but they can hear us.
Oh.
Part of the magic.
So I could like pick my nose right now?
You could.
Oh.
You could do whatever you want
won't.
right now, and I will not switch scenes immediately. Not a thing I'll do. I promise.
Should we reveal who the guest is, or should we let them guess?
Guessing game. No, let's just move over. Here we go. Hi everyone. How you doing?
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. Welcome. This is good. This is a good week, and we have a guest again. We have a guest again this week. I would like to introduce. I know him as Luno. I guess he probably has a real name. He informed me his real name is Chris.
Yeah, and I spelled it wrong, and it's my own name. Isn't that amazing? I've called you Chris Loffer. I'm called Christopher. That's amazing. Anyway, carry on, Christopher Smith. Chris Loffer Smith.
Chris Loffer Smith. Yeah, that's me.
We like to start it out real awkward to make sure that you're in the right vibe for the podcast.
Yeah, I'm feeling the mood.
Yeah.
The awkward mood.
That's just what the tea looks like. That's amazing. That is what the T looks like in this font. You get a capital T. There you go.
Are we analyzing fonts now? We're gonna break it. Do you want to like get into the kerning? Oh, this is cool. I can watch it change in real time.
Yeah, right? This is the power of XSplit, the company I work for, and the software we're using right now, except for this font that I'm using, which can't render a lowercase t. Christopher, Lunoland, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, feeling good. Happy to be here.
Feeling good. Are you rested?
Am I rested?
We should start recording the actual podcast before we get too far into it, because we're going to record all our individual audios, and Gwen needs to count us in for that, so we have better audio quality than we did last time. So anyone here that listened to the last one, that's my fault, and I'm sorry. So
wait, so we're not going to do the awkward intro, because I thought that was just fine. No. Okay. Sorry. All right.
That okay.
Yeah, I guess we're cutting this.
Oh, I didn't even start recording yet, so.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, we did. We decided before while you were gone.
Yeah,
I need to record me. We need to be in sync.
All right, everybody stop and delete that.
Yeah.
All right, we'll start again.
That's dead. That whole thing didn't happen.
That's fine. That didn't happen. All right. I'm hit record when I say 3, 2, 1.
Bam. All right, we're recording.
And we're in. We're in the dialogue box.
Whoa.
Whoa. Nobody knows who you are yet. We haven't introduced you. You just made noises.
Well, I'm here now, so the jig's up.
There we go. This week on the dialogue box, we are joined by, I know him as Luno. His real name is Chris, the solo developer that had just got back from the Stugan. What's the name of the game you're developing? I'm afraid
the name of the game is called Year in the Trees.
Year in the Trees. It's beautiful. It's I'll admit, I just like 2 podcasts ago shat on pixel art, so I feel bad about it. But like the aesthetic.
No, that's okay.
I love the aesthetic. I love the color palette you went with for Year in the Trees. I think it's a beautiful game.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think everyone who does pixel art is aware of the divisiveness of. Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone. So.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I feel like so many people are doing it that it doesn't distinguish your game anymore. I feel like if you go pixel art, you gotta like, either you're gonna crush it like Hyper Light Drifter, or you're gonna do something unique. I almost feel so many people use it as a cop-out when they can't do good art, that it's indicative of a low-quality game unless you really nail it, do something different. And I think... Yeah. Like, to be fair, what you did with Year in the Trees, all the GIFs I've seen of it, like, that's beautiful. You do some beautiful work.
That's high praise, because I'm not really an artist first. So part of the pixel art thing is just like, out of necessity. Like it was something I felt like I could succeed at when I started. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's such a range. Like you have these two pixel art games. Like one of them is Owl Boy, and the other one is just some game jam that someone just like it's their first time drawing. So
yeah, totally.
It's like anything. Yeah, it can be good. It can be awful.
That's true. I do feel like I mean, the beauty of pixel art, I suppose, is that if it looks truly awful, you can say, well, it was supposed to look awful. It's pixel art. The goal was to make something that the goal was to focus on design. The goal was to do this or that. And so in a way, it gives you kind of like an out, I suppose.
Yeah, that can be. I mean, it can, you can have a really tight, great aesthetic game that's just ASCII, like just old roguelikes that have really well considered ASCII.
Okay, I have to admit, I've not witnessed that. I'm sure you're probably...
It's out there, yeah.
You're probably right, but I haven't personally seen that.
What games would you point out, not to put you immediately on the spot, but sweet ASCII games?
So there's this one that I'm really into called ADOM, which is an acronym that's short for Ancient Demands of Mystery.
Ooh.
I feel like that game has a really... it's just all ASCII characters. It's really just kind of really tight and really just well considered, and it's just programmer art, but the programmer has done a pretty good job. So
pretty game and programmer art are like the opposite ends of the spectrum now.
It's weird. Well, it's like I think the programmer maybe didn't realize that he had this aesthetic sense when he started, and I think the game that he ended up with is actually like pretty, I don't know, just
it's got a soul. It has soul to it. It's something unique.
It's timeless, like it's stylized. Yeah.
Shit, cool. Shit. I mean, I can get behind that. So you're not an artist by trade. How did you fall into this? How did you get into this?
So my background is like music. So I studied music in school, and then I also did computer science. And after college, like I was doing music stuff for a while. Like I was a piano player at this resort hotel for like a year, and then the money was really bad, and I also worked like 7 days a week. So
yeah.
Then I kind of was like, all right, well, I did this tech stuff too. Like, let's do that instead. So I kind of was doing programming after that.
Oh, okay. So you also just had a background because you programmed for fun, and so you started programming more?
Yeah. Like, well, I did double major in music and computer science. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I missed that part. It's weird. It's weird how many programmers I know that actually do have play an instrument or have some kind of background in music.
Yeah, there's some correlation, like maybe studying music and math or something, that probably just learning how to learn something and develop a skill.
True.
They're related. But
I'd like to truly be good at any instrument takes a lot of time, which is definitely the case with programming. I mean, I don't even know if that's an innate ability. I guess it is, but it's so mechanical and based on problem solving that you need to learn that it feels like something you need to dedicate yourself to, as opposed to, obviously you need to dedicate yourself to art or something like that, but a lot of people can be born more naturally predisposed to it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not particularly good at anything, so I couldn't really... and I've not tried hard. Couldn't comment. But it sounds like you have. And it's going together quite well. How's the game? Is the game out? Is the game coming along?
It's coming along, yeah. It's still early. I'm kind of ramping up to pitching more publishers on them. So I'm reaching an early alpha demo that I'm going to pitch with. So after that, I don't think it makes much more sense to work on the game. Like, spending more time on it now isn't going to make the pitch any better. So
I see. So so your process so far was, I just want to understand, you started out as you're a double major, you were playing piano, that was your passion, you loved doing that, but it was like you had a shitty dead-end job, and then you started programming more to get some money, and then at some point, when did you start working on Year in the Trees? Is this your first game?
Yeah, this is the first game project that has any kind of noteworthiness or scale to it.
Okay.
I've done indie music for decades now, probably 16, 17 years. So I've been doing that since high school, playing in bands and
the genre of indie.
Yeah, indie rock. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool. And you so then you started how long ago did you start working on Year in the Trees? Just you know, like sometimes these things fade in, like you
Oh
can't say
yeah,
what the
yeah.
start time was.
No, I started working on it probably about 2 years ago. So like as a way to learn Unity, I was just kind of goofing around. I was thinking like, oh well, I'm probably gonna have to like, I'll program a bit, I'll make some features, kind of do some small stuff, and then I'll find an artist or someone else, and we'll kind of come up with a project together because probably not good enough to do all by myself.
So
And
and
I
then
just kept jamming. Yeah.
yeah, and then you started like doing programmer art, but your programmer art was kind of like nice and pleasant.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
I
a
don't
nice
know.
fall
Like
day.
I
Yeah.
have this talk that I've given about like working on creative stuff with a full-time day job.
Ooh.
So like, because all this has been nights and weekends for me.
Yeah.
So I haven't spent any money on the game until very recently when I went to Stugan. But yeah, so I had a lot of practice, like kind of doing stuff after school. And in the talk, I had like the slides of like the art at the beginning when I started, and then now, and it's just like, yeah, if you just do something for 2 years every night, then you get better at it. So
Yeah. Also, people think there's two sides to that. There's the I got back from work and now I'm so tired and drained and I don't want to do more work. And I can
Yeah.
totally hear that if you're say like a programmer and your passion project that you're doing at home is some kind of programming thing. But I
Yeah.
feel like there's also this other thing that happens sometimes where when you're at work, you're like, oh my God, I have so many ideas. And the second I get home, I'm going to do this and that and this and that. And it kind of like gets you really excited. And I find a lot of people quit and then immediately they don't have that thing that's forcing them to be excited. Like, and they actually, the second they try to just pursue something on their own, they kind of can't. They're like, oh, I don't know how to manage time without, you know, this chunk of my day decided and waiting and getting really hyped and ramped up while I'm at work and then going home to work. I think
No,
different
that's
people do
yeah,
it.
that's totally. I've totally noticed that. Well, I don't know. It was some interesting difference working on the game full time the last 2 months, and then being back at work now, or
Oh, we
my
skipped
schedule and
ahead
things like that.
then. Okay, so you were working part-time and 2 months ago. Did you quit specifically to go to the Stugan or did you
Oh
do
no, no. So I'm still full time. I've never been half time or uh, I've always had the same full time job for the last few years. But I took a leave of absence, like unpaid 2 months off to do students. Now I'm back at work. I'm actually in the office right now. On my
Oh,
lunch break.
dude, all right.
So for
So,
those
like-
that don't know, what's a Stugan?
What's Stugan?
Sounds like
Stugan
a
is
really nice
Swedish-
pastry. I know that.
It's a delicious after dinner treat that you can.
Nice.
No,
Wait, it is? I didn't know that version. Let me Google
No.
this real quick.
that's strudel.
Oh, I'm aware of strudel.
No, it's the Swedish word for cabin, and it's a games accelerator or incubator program. It's kind of not really either, it's somewhere in between. So they have a lot of these like accelerator programs in Sweden, but this one is in particular. It's like 2 months intensive. Like you kind of go to this retreat. It's sort of like an artist retreat where you go there with other developers who are selected. You have to apply and be selected, and then you go and you pay for your flight there, and then everything else is taken care of for you. So your lodging, food, various accommodations and other things like that. They pay for all that, and you're just there to work and hang out with other developers.
So
for 2
William
months.
Shearer talked about this last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago, and I think he is this paid for by the state or is it entirely covered by the fee that you pay?
No, so yeah, there are other programs, grants and state funding and artist grants and things like that. This one in particular, it's funded by the founders, which it's Jana and Tommy Palm and then Oscar Berman. So these are like Swedish games industry veterans who kind of did really well and wanted to kind of get back. So they've started running this program themselves, but they also get other sponsors from the Swedish games industry. So I'm sure there is some government money in there too.
Uh-huh.
But
Interesting.
mostly it's just kind of their personal accelerator program that,
God, I fucking love this industry, man. That's
yeah,
so
it's so cool. Like nothing like that could ever happen in America.
Hey, we have we have way of unofficial stuff. Like we have the Boston there's the indie cabin, for instance.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's nowhere near as cool. I'm sorry. You're right.
No, it's like it's cool because like all I paid for was my flight there, so
Yeah, damn.
they just paid
That's
for
sweet.
everything.
And you this was something, it was a pretty fierce competition to win this though, right? Like not everybody that applied got in, obviously.
Yeah, I think they said something like that there were maybe 400 applicants or something like that. So they select 20 developers ish.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then you go, all right,
Yeah.
so you Fuck, man. Like, what was that like? You went there, you won. You must have been super fucking
I
mad.
won. Yeah, I won. I won the competition. No,
Well,
I
I
was
mean,
very excited. Yeah.
you applied, you got in. Not many people do. And then you had to take 2 months off of your life to go live there. Did you get a
Yeah.
lot done on your game, or was it actually kind of distracting?
Yeah, like
or-
No, it was.
what happens there? Like, what do you do? Like, why did you even want to go? I guess is also another question, because I have a sense of like
Yeah.
you've said it's like a incubation accelerator thing, but like, what made you look at it and say, oh, I got to do that? Like, how would it
Yeah,
help
totally.
and stuff like that?
It's sort of. I think it kind of depends on your situation. They kind of do an interesting job of selecting developers at kind of different stages of their career.
Mm.
So there were some more senior people who had been in AAA and are now indies, and there were other people who were just out of school, really young.
Mhm.
So there's this wide range of abilities. I think the most interesting thing for me was that the premise is that you go to this like kind of rustic, sort of Swedish forest, and you're living. Actually, it was a ski resort, so I thought it was going to be a little bit more rustic. Like we're going to be like living in cabins. It was going to be really campy. It was like super posh. It was like nice, well-kept apartments.
I don't want
that
to be
were
in no
all-
tent. Like, come on.
Yeah, no,
I need a shower.
It was very comfortable. Yeah. It was
Oh,
incredibly
so you had like
comfortable.
your own room and shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dorm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So these were like it was like a hotel basically. Staying in a
Okay.
hotel.
And the pitch then is, so looking at it as someone that's going to apply to it, the pitch is you don't have to worry about anything else for 2 months except making your game or working on your game or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is the
and then
thing.
you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Writers do this a lot, right? Like they'll go off into a cabin in the woods where there's absolutely no distractions. They'll disconnect themselves from the internet so that they just work and like bang out like whatever it is they need to bang out. Right? Isn't that the kind of
Yeah. That's kind of the premise is like that you can be in this ultra focused environment surrounded by developers. So a lot of the people were small teams, a lot of solo people. So it's such a different if you work out of a co-working space or if you have colleagues or you're really connected to the indie scene, you have people you're meeting with, like you know how important that is to have those people around you, getting that
Yeah.
feedback, being able
constant.
to
What do you
ideas
think
off
of
them.
this? What do you think? Yeah. That's why a lot of people love co-working spaces and stuff. Absolutely.
Yes, they're very valuable for that reason. So that's kind of one of the things I learned while I was there is like, oh shit, I need this like all the time.
Oh yeah. Did you get a lot done while you were there?
Yeah, I worked like crazy. I was working like, I mean, everyone else, you kind of can make your own hours, so kind of know yourself and know your limits. But probably on average, I was working like maybe 10 hours a day, and then I didn't take any days off. So I think I had 2 days off, like kind of because I was super hungover as we were partying the night before. But other than
Yeah, that was the thing I was a little bit curious about because I know like the cabin we do in Boston, there's a lot of
yeah.
you know a lot of drinking at the lake and like I know I saw because once I saw you were part of this, I followed Stugan on Twitter and they're like, yeah, today everybody took the day off to do a game jam. I'm like, this isn't
Yeah, that's
focused
right.
at all.
We did do the game jam. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. So I mean, like that's the other cool thing about it is you have this like really nice like work-life balance. Like it's only possible for me to like work these huge long stretches because in the middle of the day, like I can take like half hour to go swim in the lake, or like you just go on these solo hikes, or just go hiking with people, or you're just surrounded by this like beautiful like Swedish forest. And
Yeah. No, there's.
yeah.
Are you like not supposed to connect to the internet, or is it discouraged?
No, it's fine. You can. I mean, everyone's just
Kind of need to, right? With some things.
Yeah. You need to reference stuff. And,
So, like,
Yeah, 'cause-
what are you? So you get in, you go, all the life things that need to be figured out in between that. But when you get there, day one, what? I mean, is it just introductions? Like, what? I suppose what does day one look like, and then what does an average day look like? Because it's 2 months. That's a little while.
Yeah, I mean, so you're meeting these new people, right? Like these developers from all across the world. So there's like, I can't remember how many countries were represented. Represented. Like they had pretty international set. I think it was maybe like nearly 50-50 men and women. So you're just meeting everyone. And luckily, I think our group meshed really well together. Like everyone was cool. But the first day, you're just meeting people, setting up your workspace.
You have to do a ropes course, a trust
Had to do a
fall.
ropes course. We did trust fall. No, we didn't do any.
Because
We
I
didn't do
really
any
hope not.
icebreakers. it was just kind of like we just went for it.
Nice. And so what's an average day when you're there? Like, what are you doing like in the day to day, other than just like because everyone always talks about the like we're going for we had parties and we were hanging out and it's like what does anyone do? Like what gets done?
Yeah, it's really boring, honestly. Like the average day was like woke up. The meals are at set times, so that kind of makes you pretty. Your schedule is kind of set for you. So get up, go to breakfast. Usually I would eat breakfast at my desk because like I need to like read the internet for 30 minutes before I do anything in the morning. It's a bad habit, but
I'm the same.
So do that,
That's being human now.
Being human now is just reading the morning Twitter or whatever. So do that. Eat breakfast. Everyone else would come after finishing breakfast, or just in our workspace together, and then just work. Like sit there, just push everything on computers.
Do you guys have? So when you said you were in your hotels, I thought like you would work in your own room, but you work together in a shared space.
Yeah, I didn't mention that. So you stay in these cabins where it's kind of like 2 people per room. So you have a roommate, but you each have your own room, and then you go travel to this like sort of main building, which I think normally it's like I don't know that there's an English word for this, but it's kind of like a guest house or like it's like a restaurant /
It would be like
space.
the mess hall and like a
mess hall, something like that.
So
we go to that, and everyone has there's a couple different rooms. So there was like a big room with like I don't know, maybe half the people, and then there were a few smaller rooms. So like if you needed to have your own room, you could try to take one of the smaller rooms. Then you could also just like everyone had laptops, so you could just kind of go work downstairs or sit outside in the hammock.
And they provided all the equipment?
They provided monitors, and there was Wi-Fi and Ethernet cables, but the Wi-Fi was like a little spotty. But other than that, you just had to bring your own laptop and whatever gear you needed. So
okay. Well, they're aiming at people that are already doing something, so presumably you're going to have all your shit already.
Yeah.
There was some famous, like Tom Francis, I think was the first time I ever heard about this. He did Gunpoint. He worked on that one at Stugan.
Heat Signature was the one who was working on it at Stugan.
Oh, Heat Signature was. Okay.
Also Andrew Schuldeis, the Tunic guy. He was there 2 years ago, I think.
That game looks really cool.
Working on Tunic, or?
Yeah, working on Tunic.
Yeah, I know Kate Gray was there as well.
Yep. Kate Gray.
Just because she was the first person I heard about it because I'd worked with her a few times, and then I saw I'm at this thing, and I was like, "Fuck is this?" And looked up and was like, "Oh, sure, yeah."
Yeah. She was like the host, I guess. They bring in one media person to kind of host and make videos and.
Whoa! Wait a minute.
Stuff.
Chris is like, this just became relevant to my interests.
Hang on a minute. I didn't realize that was a thing.
I can get my life paid for 2 months. What?
Yeah, I'll do that. Fuck, I do that anyway.
Yeah, that'd be
Your wife is like
Stugan. Come on. Let's go. Let's do this. Here he is, right now.
All right, I guess you're down here.
The most generic looking guy you could find. Bam. He's right here. Anyway, so...
I'm sure that's how they choose people. They're like, who looks the least generic?
Yeah, who's the least offensive looking?
Yeah, not this guy. But, so, you're in the common working space. What are you working on while you're there? It's the game... Like, you're just physically working on the game. Is that normal? Like, or is there people that are working on different aspects of games? Or, like,
no, it's not normal to work on games, man.
Well, I know that. I've interviewed enough developers. I've interviewed hundreds of developers over the years, and I've picked up that point. But, like, it's... So, is what you're doing the norm there? Like, everyone is kind of working on a solo project? Or is there different things going on?
Yeah, there were a lot of solo people there. There are a few small teams of 2 or 3. I mean, you pitch them on the project you want to work on, and then you're there to work on that project. So they expect you to, you have like demo day at the end there's like a finale in Stockholm and some demo days. So you need something to show. You have a presentation to do. So like, I think in the past they've had people that have kind of worked on, they haven't been super focused, but like, they really want you to, you're there, they're supporting you, you're going to work on your game and have something to show for it at the end.
That's amazing. Did you get a lot of good press out of it, do you think? Like, did the press show up to the thing at the end?
Yeah, there was a little bit of press. I did meet some publishers, so that was good. Mostly, I think it's for someone like Gwen, I don't think this program would necessarily. I mean, if you're already indie, maybe if you're in a situation where it would be like cheaper for you to be there than where you're currently at, it could be nice. But
anything would be cheaper than Boston.
yeah,
It's the reason I live in a basement. Well, no,
Right.
London might be more expensive. I'm sorry, Chris.
It's a little bit.
Probably.
London is pretty good. This is again. We should both be doing Stugan, Gwen. You could be working on Kine. I could just interview you. Again, we're doing this anyway, but like we don't have to pay this.
Living in one of these major American cities or in London, honestly, yeah, pretty much anything would be cheaper. I'd slum it at this Stugan. It sounds great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but
more about
I'm
you.
sure, for you specifically, because I know you don't have like a huge community of people.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
and you don't. So I bet, and this is your first game, and I bet it was like amazing and fun and pivotal, and being around other people who can critique your game and give you feedback constantly, like the constant feedback loop, especially. So it's, if you have to reach out to somebody and be like, hey, I put a build up, can you check it out at some point and give me feedback? That's one thing. Whereas if somebody's sitting next to you, you can be like, yo, I just tried a new control scheme. Can you play it real quick? And then they just play it right there. And then you immediately have that feedback that your iteration loop is so much faster.
No, yeah, that's exactly right. If you're just kind of, I mean, even if you're Tom Francis, you know, like when he went there, he already had a huge audience from Gunpoint. So, I mean, there's value in just like, if you're solo and you don't have a co-working space, it's just being around other developers.
Yeah, like that's a huge part of it, right? Like, because you're right, I'm doing Kine solo, but I have a full-time job in video games, and I can just at any point be like, hey, yo, psst.
Yeah,
check this out, is this shit? Or ask questions, especially like for me, being around other people that are using the Unreal Engine is really, really beneficial. For instance, just because I can bounce, I can be like, I'm stuck, and have people help out.
No, yeah, totally. I mean, and also it seemed like just, I don't know, it's more clout for my project. Like I can say I was excited to this thing. Like it's just so many benefits to going even if you're pretty well established, I think. So like the environment and the people that I met there, just like that super focused environment where everyone around you is jamming on their project and they're all doing like super cool shit. And you're just like, oh, I really want to, you know, we have like a playtesting day like every week, and it was like, oh, I really gotta have something cool to show everyone. So it's very motivating.
Oh yeah, that's the best. I find like, so that's something I miss about Irrational. It's something I miss about I don't know, like being a big studio. I don't know if I want to call it AAA, but when you're at a larger studio and you can surprise people, like that's because when you're at a large studio, you don't have this thing where you're like tweeting out GIFs and shit of your work, right? Like you just don't. Everything's under wraps. Like often for years, you won't even announce what you're working on, and then you'll announce it, and everything that is put out there in front of other people is done by marketing. You're not allowed to do that, and so that fulfillment you get from sharing your work, you don't get that from other people. You get, or from like customers. You get that from your coworkers. Like at a large studio, you love surprising your coworkers. You love being like, psst, yo, hey Grant, check it out, man. Look at what I made. And you know, you get that camaraderie from your coworkers rather than, I think when you're indie, at least in my experience, you get a lot more of that from like showing off on Twitter and from whatever community you can kind of dig yourself into. And digging yourself into a community is kind of like something you have to aggressively pursue when you're indie, because it is super beneficial, and you totally miss it when you don't have it. At least I did, because I used to having coworkers. I'm used to the feedback loop, the constant, you know, bouncing ideas off of people and stuff. So yeah, I'm glad you got a taste of that. That's cool.
Yeah,
I wish Stugan was like always. But
yeah, everyone. Well, there's the post Stugan depression that you know, they warned us about it.
Oh yeah,
sort of in the midst of it now. You know, like when you meet these people and you're strangers for a while, and you're kind of like trying to be the best version of yourself, and then finally like kind of the walls come down, and you just get to know everyone, and then friendships start deepening, and then you have to leave. And you just, I feel like super immersive environment.
I could keep up pretenses for 2 months. I think I could do it.
You've been doing it for years, Gwen. It's still always on.
Front.
It's all just a facade.
Yeah, you wait. Especially because I know so I got like 10 hours of keeping up a front for 2 months. All right, I think I could do it. 10 hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the people there were like kind of too. So like as game developers tend to be. So like, yeah, I don't know.
I think the shocking thing for most people is how incredibly boring the vast majority of the day is. Most of the time. It's just like we're real boring people. We sit a lot.
You just sit at your computer and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's a lot of sitting. It's a lot of real boring bullshit. But
it's a lot of thinking. Like you're programming. It's like typing isn't the bottleneck. You're not even typing. You're just like trying to understand something. That's like 80% of my time. It's like trying to understand something.
Every now and then I catch myself on like when I'm streaming and I'll realize I'm just like making one of those faces. It's just like
yeah, you just like that far away look, the sad look.
Yeah, that's a little too real.
So
it's
real.
hard. That's one of the reasons why I don't like streaming certain things. It's just like it's just gonna be me staring off dazed.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Chris, you got it. That was it. Nailed it.
Oh, right then, what I was doing just then.
You were doing it.
Yeah,
I was going to say
the faraway gaze.
The faraway gaze. I'm used to that. Sometimes, I don't know. You're because I host stages and stuff, and a bunch of them you do for the whole day. I've said this a million times, but you get to like Sunday of a PAX, and you're interviewing someone, and you realize while they're talking to you about whatever it is you're interviewing them about, you've not been listening, you've not been thinking about it. You're thinking like, I wonder where we're going to go for dinner tonight, like, because it's the last night, so we're probably going to go somewhere really good. That would be nice. Maybe we could get steak. We normally get steak on the last night. Or you'd like a steak. And then you realize you're sitting on a stage being broadcast to Twitch with people standing around watching, and someone's just like, yeah, so now I'm wrapping up what I'm saying, but you wasn't listening. And I'm like, great. So what were the graphical influences? Pull out stock question out of the thing.
Man, I've given interviews on autopilot, like where you're thinking about something else, usually food, same thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking about
really
food
tired.
The day's almost over, and they're asking questions. I'm just replying, and it occurs to me, I'm like, oh fuck, I have paid no attention to the words that I've said, like at all. Like I've actually managed to autopilot a conversation for an interview just because you answer the same questions so much.
Oh god. Yeah.
But if you're not paying attention, you'll start like saying the same sentence a couple times.
Yeah, that can happen. That can happen. Or I can get someone's name wrong.
Sorry, Chris Light and I are having a moment. You'll be there soon when you're showing this off, man.
Yeah.
No. It's like you got your pitch and there's a certain kind of turn of phrase you tend to use to describe something, and it's just like you've given it so many times that like it's just easier to do that than invent some novel way of saying it. So you just
Well, I like to change a couple words each time just to keep it fresh.
To change one word.
Well, you'd be surprised. Yeah, I change up 2 words every time, and by the end of the day, the conversation's drifted slightly. But anyway,
as you go through.
Let's get back to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in terms of like fatigue and stuff like that, as we were just discussing, how was that while you were at Stugan? Because it's a really relaxing environment, and you're technically doing exactly what you want to do, but like you said, you only took like 2 days off. So did you get to the end of it and you were like, fuck, that holiday was really like tiring? Or was it, or did you come back refreshed? And like, how was that?
Man, I don't even know. Like I wrote this like super long blog post, but like I can't even, it's just like that was like a time that just, it's just crystallized like in the past. Like I can't even think about it. Like
you can't think about what happened at what point. It's all just part of the Stugan. Stugan is just a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I was just working on the game all the time, and I don't know. I don't feel burnt out yet, hopefully. So I think it was good. Like,
cool.
I don't know. What was the question, man? Like, I don't even.
I haven't
lost it.
I'm gonna go with you are tired now. That's the takeaway.
I want to talk to you about publishers. So you've decided. When did you decide you were gonna go with a publisher?
I mean,
smart choice.
I don't know. I haven't.
You haven't.
I guess. I don't have a deal or anything like that. But, I'm interested in talking to publishers. Yeah.
When you started making, when you started making this, you were a year in the trees. You were did you intend to make it entirely yourself and release it on itch? What was your intention initially, and at what point did you think, oh, I want to blow this up to something bigger? And was it when you got into Stugan that you were like, this is real? Or was it...
No, yeah, it was before then. I think when I started, I wasn't doing, and I wanted to do something that like I could do start to finish by myself, so that like it's just less risky, I guess. The game,
of course.
I would never like, there are other projects where you see it like they have to scuttle the project because the artist left or they ran out of money. But this way, like, well, at least I can always just do it nights and weekends as I have been doing. So it seems pretty safe. I don't have to spend any savings. I don't have to take any risks. It's just something I can do. I've always wanted to do it. And then, you know, as I got more serious about it, and then especially after I was thinking about like, well, is there a way I could do this half-time? Like, could I get a like part-time job and do it half-time? So I have a plan to bootstrap to some kind of early access. So now I've thought about that a little bit more, especially after talking to, one of the things that Stugan does is they bring in mentors from the industry. So you get to pitch your game to those people and have them play it and get kind of like industry feedback, more biz dev kind of stuff. So my plan now is like, the game is like these 4 seasons of survival kind of fantasy RPG gameplay. So I'm going to kind of do them as chapters, and kind of the first milestone is just like pitching, raising some funds to do the first chapter, maybe half-time or full-time, and then I'll release that as early access. And if that goes well, we could do more. But
so what made you decide? So you decided, I want to work on this part-time or full-time. I want to make this my career. At what point did you decide? Because at some point you either didn't consider Kickstarter or...
Oh no, I've considered it. It's I don't know.
No.
If I do a Kickstarter and it fails, it looks really bad. So Kickstarter is kind of like a last resort for me, I guess. Maybe I would consider it, but
I've seen people get funded from failed Kickstarters by publishers.
Really?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's a way of, sometimes people kickstart just to get noticed, but I mean, I don't think you need to do that since you have Stugan.
Yeah, I mean, my audience is like not super big, so
that would be my worry. Yeah, with Kickstarter, like, where does the media attention come from? Or
it changes your relationship. Like, if you think you have a strong chance of going with a publisher up front, then I wouldn't, and you want that, then I wouldn't go with Kickstarter, because it does, if you fail, then it does let the publisher know you're kind of on the ropes. But on the flip side,
like a market test, right?
Yeah, on the flip side of that, I've seen the other thing where publishers, specifically like in China and other places, will reach out to Kickstarters that they've seen have failed, and offer funding, and through that, it's a way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Just because, like, it's a way of getting your game out there to and noticed by a large number of. Some people troll that stuff, basically.
Yeah, it seems like Kickstarter is as a marketing stunt is like a little bit more specious now in 2018. Like, the press it's not novel or cool to get funded on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It's not exciting. You're not going to get a lot of coverage. It's kind of like, if you have a big audience, take them to Kickstarter and do pre-sale, basically. But it's like only the outliers blow up and get, you know, a huge amount of money. So I would consider it, but it's so much extra work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work.
Yeah, if I can't find a good deal, maybe I would consider doing it. But
all right, so you're going with the publisher, or you're looking for a publisher.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people, so nothing set in stone yet. But I basically just need to finish the sort of first look demo that's a little bit more polished to send to people. I think it's kind of the next milestone. I'm hoping to finish that.
Have you thought about how many hours you've put into the game so far, or like man days roughly?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Because my other fear would be that you took on all the risk. You made something cool. You proved that it's cool. You took it to Stugan, and now, say if you go to a publisher and they give you money and they expect 70% of the revenue, I'd be a little bit sad, right?
Yeah.
So like I mean, it depends on the split and stuff, but you kind of like, you know this.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. Like, it would be nice to, at the end of the game, it's like, see all those pixels? Like, I put every one of those fuckers there by hand. Like, this is my project that I own start to finish. That would feel great to be able to say that, but So far, like, yeah, I think I've spent probably the equivalent of a year full time on it. Maybe not. It's really hard to tell what the part time.
Yeah.
After being a student and being back, like I've noticed, like it's so much harder to work on things I need to work on in my free time. I can only work on the things that I'm excited to work on. Whereas a student, I could do the things that needed to get done because like this is blocking people in the playtest. I don't want to work on it, but it needs to be done.
Yeah.
That was much easier full time. But yeah, I don't know. I think I haven't spent any money on it yet. It's been pretty low risk for me. So I think working with a publisher has the benefit of like, oh, well, you know, if they have the right, if it's a good enough fit, like they have an audience for the kind of game I'm making already, that could be a huge like boon to marketing. And then also the funding, splitting the risk with someone else and not just blowing my savings on this wild and fanciful project would be good.
Yeah. Well, you haven't. Do you? Another thing that kind of came up there is it sounds like you're thinking about hiring people to help out.
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe. I think there are some places for contractors like sound design or QA or possibly the right game designer or level designer could be really, really good.
Yeah,
so,
I know these are advantages with publishers as well. Like, again, just because I work with Devolver, it's my only knowledge of publishers, but they will like connect you to people that they know that can help with things and stuff like that. So yeah, doesn't seem like a bad path.
No, you're absolutely right. There are other projects that I've looked. It was a solo developer. They cut a deal with the publisher. The publisher connects them to their favorite artist, and now they're like a good example of this is Atomic Crops, which is like a pixel art game that Raw Fury is just publishing. Raw Fury is one of the publishers I talked to in Stockholm.
Yeah, they're cool.
Based in Sweden. Yeah, I think they'd be a really good fit for the game. So, but it's a similar situation. They had a solo developer who pitched them on this game, and they thought it was cool, so they want to work with them. And then basically they were just like, well, what artist do you want? We should bring out an artist. Like we can get you. We'll see. Like just who do you think is cool? We'll reach out to them, and they just made it happen. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. Oh shit. Yeah. They already did that?
Yeah, like the artist is. They're
like, we'll connect you to the artist. We're not sure we're gonna pay you so that you can pay them yet, but we'll intro you.
Oh no, not me.
For his game. Yeah.
Oh, that's for the other game. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
That would be really weird if they just like, oh yeah, we're not gonna.
We'll pay that artist, but we're not gonna pay you. Like it's or not even that. They're like, you're gonna pay him, right? What?
Oh god.
Yeah. But
cool.
I can't remember the artist's name. Toby Dixon, the guy who did the Nidhogg 2.
Oh shit.
And a lot of people, they felt like, oh, Nidhogg 2, the art style is wrong. It's not as like economical and you know whatever as the original. But that guy is like an amazing animator. It's so juicy. It's so fluid. So
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Nice, man. Yeah, it sounds like Stugan definitely. I mean, it sounds like it was definitely a positive thing for you. Like.
Oh yeah, incredibly positive experience. Yeah.
And I did want to. I will give a shout out because right before you left for Stugan, you recorded a bass track for Kine. I didn't even know that was happening, man. Like my audio.
Dude, that was the last thing that was like just before packing. I had like 3 hours. I recorded that.
Oh, yeah, my musician gets in touch with me. He's like, "Oh, by the way, I need you to put in this new. I just cleaned this up. Do you know Luno from Twitch? He was hanging out in your chat, and I just started talking to him, and he's decided to do the bass track for your game. Oh man, thank you. Oh, it's in. Yeah.
Really? Wow,
yeah. Oh shit, I'll get you a key. You can play.
That's
I
awesome.
haven't even played this damn game yet. God damn it! Everyone's got it now.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
so
awesome,
cool,
man.
I was worried it wasn't going to be good enough for, I don't know, like I play upright bass, but like that's not my primary instrument, so I was worried the intonation might be a little wonky or something, but
I don't. My musician.
She wouldn't even know
the calls.
Yeah.
On the music. Yeah. I'm tone dumb. Would be about where it is. I love musicians. I love music, but I'm bad at like picking them apart. Oh god, you should hear me try to give direction to music. I'm like it's not what I want, and I don't know why.
Yeah. No, it's hard.
The worst
like
client.
I'm so patient.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that just from my wife being an artist, and you get the clients that are like, can you make it so it's like brighter and better? You're like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
I'll
make
just
it
go.
pop.
I'll just go and do that. Any specific things you want me to do?
It's all of it. Like, I remember I was describing the game to him. To do is have blues for the game, and I was like, no, it's not a sad game. And it's just like trying to break down blues doesn't mean sad. I'm like, I really don't think this is a good idea. And he writes this, and he writes the music, and I'm like, oh, I love it. That's fine. Yeah, that's good. Whatever. I don't know anything. This is why I work with you. Yeah. But
Nice.
hey, I think we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, of
Chris.
course. Thanks for having me. This was such a pleasure to be on the show. I'm a big fan of the dialogue box in general. So.
Oh man, I'm a big fan of your Twitch streams as well, man.
Yeah. Oh, we should talk about Twitch streams.
Which, all right, come back next time. We'll talk about streaming and if it is actually good or bad for game developers.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. We'll come up with something. We're all streamers here.
It's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gwen, I believe you have a signature line that you normally say at the end of these shows.
We would like to thank, I think you should, everybody follow Lunoland on Twitter. That is Chris's handle, and you can hear all about, or he will be tweeting all about his game, A Year in the Trees. This has been Chris Slight, Chris, I don't know his last name,
Smith.
and Gwen Frey, Chris Smith. And you've been in the Dialogue Box. Is that the worst ending? Do you want me to do it again?
I already pressed stop, so no.
All right. Well, stop.
Well, it's.
By the way, we're gonna. If you're okay with being here for another couple of minutes, Chris, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in now while we save files and whatnot. Or Chris, you've listened to the show. If you have any questions for us, we've never done that before.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Yeah, I'm happy to hang out.
I've got some kind of like dumb brain where I can't remember if it's The Year in the Trees or A Year in the Trees.
It's just no article, just Year in the Trees.
God damn it! All right.
It doesn't matter. It's.
I can't remember what episode we're on.
I gotta get the name of your game, man. That's so rude. Sorry. Okay.
Can you just can people go and play that at all in any form now?
No, they can't play it yet, but I have a private demo that I'll be sending out. The same one I'm pitching with.
Oh, nice.
So newsletter subscribers, if you sign up for the newsletter on the
Oh,
website,
shit.
You get private alpha access before anyone else. So that's at yearinthetrees.com.
Yeah.
666.
Wait, let's check this out.
All right. Downloading. So yeah, if anyone in the chat has any questions, I got a burp. Not on the show. There you go. This is just the Twitch stream. Feel free to ask them. Also, as I said, Chris, if you have any questions for me and Gwen, I don't expect you to because I've sprung this on you now and I thought of it just now. But feel free. You also don't have to.
So Ben Joe asks, how awkward were the first couple of days at Stugan?
I don't know. A little awkward. Like, you're just kind of meeting these people, like, pretty much everyone. There were 2 English guys, and 3 Americans, and 2 Canadians, and then everyone else. I think it was like, I guess there were Australians as well, but there were a lot of people who English was their second language. It didn't matter because they were all just incredibly fluent and amazing, and it just made you feel like such a stupid. Oh wow, I don't speak any languages. These people are also fucking cultured.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Just like a fucking like caveman over here, like, oh, America. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't that awkward. Like you're trying to be the best version of energy. You know, you're kind of feeling people you don't know, like what are politics like what's people's sense of humor. Like you don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable, but it wasn't super awkward. Like you just kind of, I don't know. We were all just there to work, and everyone just kind of settled in pretty quickly. So
nice, man.
I think it depends too, maybe year to year. Next year, if you should, everyone who's thinking of applying, if you have an indie game, you should definitely apply. Just apply next year. There's it takes no effort to apply. You don't need to have a super polished game, but
I strongly suspect that the Stugan sort of self-selects for people who are a little more outgoing, social, because I think most people who would like be really awkward and don't want to be in that setting wouldn't apply to Stugan, right?
That's true. Yeah. That's
You'd
So
imagine.
So like I'd imagine there's like a lot of people incredibly uninterested, just because like being locked in a cabin for 2 months with a bunch of strangers doesn't sound like a lot of fun to everybody in the world, even if they are game developers.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I think also when they consider you like not going to be like just awful at being around other people, because
Yeah.
you need to work and live with these other people and not cause problems. So
Yeah, of course.
but we had there were some super introverted people there, like people that would go back to their cabin in the evening. That was totally okay. So like
That would be
most of
me.
us are just kind of weirdos anyways. So
Yeah, groovy. Cool. Did you make music for anyone else's game?
I made music for a Game Jam game. Oh, I gotta plug the
Game
Game Jam game we made. I hate Game Jams, but we did this Game Jam. It was me, the developer of this game, Assault Android Cactus, Tim, God, I forget, Tim Dawson, and then this other guy, Adam Robinson Yu, who's making this like super cool paper RPG game that's like just blowing up on Twitter. He's awesome. So we worked on this game together called The Secret of Dank Mountain. And you should just Google that, and you can find out the secret of Dank Mountain.
Oh shit! That there is a secret. Like there's a secret to be found.
The secret of Dank Mountain. You should find it.
The memes
I won't tell
are
you
all
what
there.
it is, but
Is this available on itch?
yeah, it's available on itch.
Oh shit! I can
just Google it. And you can find it.
Okay.
So I did the music for that.
Cool.
I'm looking that up right now.
Nice font choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is shit hot. I'm damn, this actually looks way better than I imagine a thing in a game jam might look. I'm gonna post that into the chat for anyone that's interested. Someone asks, Trinket Tom, do you plan on adding an Easter egg to Year in the Trees inspired by Stugan?
Hi, Tom.
Oh, you know Tom? You're just like, what's up, Tom? Oh, it's fucking Tom. Here he is.
Tom is the captain of Trinket Studios here in Chicago, makers of Battleship Brigade.
Oh, Battleship Brigade. That game's awesome.
Yeah, Battleship Brigade. Yeah. So Tom fucking rules, and he's a big part of the indie scene here. Yeah, I definitely want to add some Easter eggs. We visited this copper mine, and the legend of this, it's just like super important to the Swedish economy, like copper mine. There's this legend of the copper mine that a goat discovered the mine because it had like been ramming its head into like some rocks, and its horns became red from doing this. And its owner noticed this and then followed the goat one day to see where it was going, and then found the mine. Definitely gonna put that goat in the game for sure.
That's pretty awesome.
Also, just cabins and shit. Like it's already in the game. So
yeah, cabins and shit. Throw them in.
Cabins and shit. Yeah.
Bearded Outlaw 37 asks, what inspired you to create Year in the Trees or Year in the Woods or wherever we are?
I don't know. I just always wanted to make a big. Small projects are cool. It's good to do small projects. I was just at a point in my life where I'd released a bunch of records, smaller things. I wanted to make an RPG. I've always wanted to do it, so I just made an RPG.
Nice, man. Were there any like narrative like things that you were inspired for, like why you made a survival game or why in the trees or like that kind of stuff?
I was inspired by a bunch of other games. That roguelike I mentioned earlier, Adam, that was a big inspiration. Walden, just sort of the premise of Walden. I think that's a really cool hook, like escaping to nature to like start a new life. That's really appealing to me. I've been living in the city for a long time, but I grew up in Michigan, which actually Sweden and Michigan kind of look similar.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I've been missing that kind of nature stuff, so it's a little bit of that.
Nice, man.
So thank you, Bearded Outlaw.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, if anyone else has any other questions, feel free to shove them in. But otherwise,
we're free to go. Probably, maybe.
I think so. You're a solo dev, right? How are you managing the scale of the game? Asks.
I'm not.
Tal Ernu, which I probably said
not
wrong.
Managing it.
Just not.
No, I am. It's really hard. I don't know. It's kind of like you're trying to find ways to keep the scope down, trying to reuse tech, trying to think of a design that, like, one thing I do is I track how long it takes each type of asset and try to project out, like, how long does it take me to make an item? What if the item has new behavior? How many items can I add given that amount of time? And I've been doing that for like, I know how long it takes me to make an item, a monster, area, certain kinds of environment assets. So that's a big part of it. The other part is like you kind of, I don't know, I'm like still trying to figure out exactly how the design is going to work. Like I have a lot of ideas, I need to test them out. So that's the really nebulous part is you don't know, do I need this system? Will this system make it better? You're testing stuff out. You kind of just have to jam and experiment and throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. So
do you kind of have an idea of when you're going to ship? Or is it, you're still just kind of filling out because you're not really done with the design prototype yet? Or
yeah, I think I'm pretty close to I think I'm closing in on not really needing to add any more systems or features and then just starting to add content more and building out more of the content. But yeah, I think I don't know, I don't want to spend, I guess if I were full-time, I think I could reach early access in like maybe 2 years would be good, or maybe less than that. So it's still a really big project.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have enough money to live on to, if I wanted to just live on my savings, I could probably just go and do that. But don't do that. Don't quit your job. Have a plan. Have a plan. Don't be irresponsible and just blow your money away.
Talrenew just want to know what your day job is.
Oh yeah, my day job is I'm like a backend analytics kind of data person for online retailer. So programming, scripting, database, that kind of stuff.
Wow, that's soul crushing.
Soul crushing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That'll make you want to make games at night. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
need
the
that.
It's the kind of meditative job that really lets the creative juices flow later.
Yeah, no, it's important to have a day job that, I mean, I don't know, any kind of programming, you need to be creative and solve problems. So
yeah, that's true. I'm just making fun of you.
Turn off, but no, you're right though. Like having a day job that's kind of a little bit out of the way of what you're trying to do in your spare time. That's good. It's a good thing to do.
Nice, man.
No, I feel bad. I didn't mean to shit on your day job. I was.
No, it's a good.
That
job.
is the way of
I love my day
Gwen.
job.
She comes from a place of love, allegedly, but
Theoretically.
Lovingly shitting.
Yeah.
As you do.
Nice, man.
I'll bet Talrenew. So are we?
Yeah.
Are we free to go? Should we take off? Back to work?
Well, thanks for being on the show, dude.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Of course. Enjoy the rest of your day. I think we used up your lunch hour, so now you can starve through the rest of your.
I'm gonna go get a Jimmy John's sandwich and
pork it down over the sink like a proper indie.
Yeah, do some sweet database programming.
All right.
Eating over the sink, that's just smart. No mess.
Yeah,
just goes in the sink.
Yes, thank you. Somebody out there gets me. Chris Light, thank you.
Gwen, that is, if I'm eating alone, just stand over the sink. Jeez, so much easier.
Yeah.
These two are pros. This is the shit right here.
This is what happens when you work alone at home a lot.
Yeah.
Now this is your future. Welcome to your future. All right. So this has been. Sorry.
See this space? This is all I ever see.
Oh God, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry you missed the show.
You can catch it on iTunes, though. There will be the full conversation edited on there. Also, the VOD of this on Gwen's channel will be here, and also it will go up on YouTube. I think you normally put them there on the Friday,
I put them
right?
right when we put up the dialogue box, yes. So you can see us on YouTube later.
Yeah.
Azam. So I'll get us out of this. This has been Gwen Frey, Christopher Smith, Chris Light, and you've been in the dialogue box.
Bye.
Bye.